All right, today we're diving into one of the buzziest anti-aging supplements out there, NMN. You've probably seen it pop up, right? It's got this incredible promise of, turning back the clock on a cellular level. But it's also wrapped in this really fascinating scientific puzzle. So let's get right into it. So at the very heart of this whole story is a simple, kind of brutal biological fact. Our cells, they have a fuel for youth, and, well, it's running out. It's this critical molecule that keeps everything energetic and resilient. But as we get older, our natural supply just starts to dwindle. And that really sets the stage for a lot of what we think of as aging. And that, of course, leads to the big question, right? The powerful what if. What if we could refuel ourselves? I mean, could one single molecule really slow down that decline? That is the exact promise that put this one specific molecule right in the scientific spotlight. So that fuel, it's a molecule called NAD+. And look, it's not just important, it's absolutely fundamental. The best way to think about it is like the spark plug for your cellular engine. It's what fires everything up. It's essential for creating energy, for repairing our DNA, and for keeping hundreds of other critical processes online. No spark plug, no go. And here is the core problem, the real kicker. As we get older, our NAD+ levels, they just plummet. We're talking a drop of over 50% from when we were young. And that decline, it's linked to a whole host of age-related issues, everything from metabolic problems to just a loss of physical function. This is the challenge that scientists are desperately trying to solve. So the solution seemed almost beautifully simple. I mean, if NAD+ is low, why not just boost it? The catch is, you can't really supplement with NAD+ directly, so scientists turned to its precursor, a molecule called NMN. The theory was super straightforward. Just give the body the raw materials and it'll build more of the fuel it needs. And in the lab with animal studies, wow, the results were absolutely astonishing. And just look at the sheer breadth of these findings. This wasn't just some small minor improvement. We're talking aging mice doubling their running endurance. In Alzheimer's models, it restored cognitive function. It even reversed vascular aging and rescued fertility in older female mice. I mean, come on. Results like these are exactly what gets scientists incredibly excited. Yeah, let's just pause on that for a second. Double the physical endurance. Just picture it. Older mice running on a treadmill for twice as long as the mice that didn't get NMN. That points to a really powerful physiological effect, like a potential rejuvenation of their muscles and energy metabolism on a really profound level. And look, this wasn't just media hype, Leading research groups like Professor David Sinclair's group over at Harvard, they concluded that NMN showed real, actual potential in fighting against age-related decline. A statement like that from a top institution, that gives the idea some serious weight. But the billion-dollar question was still hanging out there. Would any of this translate from mice to humans? Because this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. All those dramatic, super clear-cut results in animals, well, they didn't just neatly translate over to people. Nope. In humans, the picture got way more complicated. The findings were more modest and sometimes even completely contradictory. Just take a look at the variety of these outcomes. It's kind of all over the map. So one study found NMN improved insulin sensitivity in muscle, which is great, right? But here's the confusing part. It didn't actually increase NAD+ levels in the muscle. So what's going on? Then another study found no significant boost in blood NAD+ at all. And get this, in one trial, while some health markers got better, the blood NAD+ levels actually went down. This was clearly not the simple slam dunk success story we saw in mice. Okay, but it's not all confusing. One of the most solid human trials did deliver a clear positive result for physical performance. This is a big one. At higher doses, we're talking 600 and 900 milligrams, the folks taking NMN walked significantly farther in a 6-minute test compared to the placebo group. So this shows that NMN can have a measurable real-world effect in humans. But it also tells us two things. Dose really, really matters, and the way it works isn't as simple as we first thought. Which brings us right back to the central mystery, doesn't it? Why the inconsistency? Why isn't it a slam dunk every time? Well, the answer, it turns out, is all about the long, complicated, and frankly weird journey an NMN capsule takes after you swallow it. Yeah, it's definitely not a direct flight. So, let's actually trace that journey. You swallow an NMN capsule. First stop, your gut. But here's the thing. Before it can even be absorbed, your gut bacteria jump on it first. They basically break down most of that NMN into totally different molecules, like something called nicotinamide, or NAM for short. And it's those converted molecules that get absorbed and sent to the liver to make NAD+. So what does that mean? It means very little of the original NMN you swallowed ever makes it into your bloodstream intact.
And this is all thanks to our gut microbiota. Seriously, the best way to picture these trillions of bacteria is as a super powerful, very strict customs agent at a border crossing. They inspect, they process, and they fundamentally change compounds like NMN before they are ever allowed to enter the rest of your system. And this is a critical step that honestly was mostly overlooked in the early research.
This whole discovery leaves us with a really fascinating set of puzzles to solve. First, the bioavailability question. How much NMN actually makes it past that customs agent intact? But then there's the second, and maybe even more important question. Does it even matter? I mean, if the body is just using the stuff NMN gets broken down into anyway, are the benefits we see actually from NMN itself or from those other molecules? Figuring that out is the key to solving the whole mystery of the mixed human trials. So, where does all this leave us? What's the verdict, at least for now? Well, here's what we know for sure. NMN is generally safe, even up to 900 milligrams a day. We know it can boost the raw materials for NAD+ in the blood, and we have solid evidence that it can improve physical function in some people. But here's what we don't know. We don't know the perfect dose for specific results. We have no idea about the long-term effects, and we haven't figured out how to get more of it past that gut customs agent. And of course, the biggest question of all, can it meaningfully extend our health span or lifespan? That one is still very much unanswered.
You know, the story of NMN is really a perfect example of how science actually works. It's a journey from this simple, elegant idea to a much more complex and messy reality. And it leaves us with this one crucial question to think about. Is NMN the key to healthier aging? Or is it just the first major clue that's going to help us solve a much larger puzzle? For now, the research continues, and we'll be watching.